Here we go, another live. Good morning, guys. I am this thing freaking like I can't tell which side my hair's gotta look perfect for you. Perfect. All right. I essentially started this channel because I wanted to discuss the Juston root case. Um, this case is gonna blow your mind. It's pathetic. It's sad. The fact that there has been absolutely no accountability, and it's been over 6 years that Justin was executed by the Boston Police Department. I have a lot of like videos and audio and stuff, but the only thing is I have to learn how to share the screen and do it that way. So for right now, like I'm just going to read off some documents. And I'm going to start with just a basic like a basic, it's not really basic, but an idea of what he went through and what happened to him. On February 7th, 2020, after Juston Root pointed a gun at a hospital security guard and a responding police officer shot that gun at police and disregarded police instructions to drop the weapon. Number one, Juston pulled up in front of the BWC, like he was in traffic, and he pulled up, double parked alongside another car, and he ran over to the BMC or whatever that place is and shook the security guard's hand. That's the same security guard that ended up calling the police and saying that Juston had a gun. Now, Juston had these grandiose, like he wanted to be law enforcement. And whenever he got into his, we'll say, manic episodes, he acted like a cop. He really thought he was a cop. And everyone knew him down there. Everybody. He's familiar. He was nice, always talked to everybody, friendly, left everybody alone. I mean, he was just he was just on. So they disregarded the police instructions to drop the weapon. Juston then led the officers on a high-speed chase down busy urban streets and crashed his Chevrolet Volt, and then ran from the officers and disregarded further commands to stop and drop his gun. So if he's driving and you're giving him commands to drop his gun, how does that make any sense? So 6 law enforcement officers from 2 separate law enforcement agencies responding to the reports of his activities. What? 6 law enforcement officers from 2 separate law enforcement agencies responding to the reports of his activities fired at him, all simultaneously perceiving that he was again reaching for a gun. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, it was a BB gun. My dogs are going, watching them on camera. They're fucking crazy. Their shots proved to be fatal. After the event, the officers confirmed that he indeed had a gun on his person at the time of the shootings and was carrying 2 additional guns in his car, BB guns and a pellet gun. His sister Jennifer Root Bannon, acting as the representative of his estate, sued 6 of the officers involved. Massachusetts State Trooper Paul Conley, Boston Police Department officers Leroy Fernandez, Brenda Figueroa, Joseph McMenemy, and Corey Thomas. The city of Boston alleging that the officers employed excessive force in violation of the Fourth Amendment during the fatal shooting. The district court granted summary judgment to the defendants. We agree with the district court's conclusion that the officers acted reasonably under the circumstances during the fatal shooting and so did not violate the Fourth Amendment. So unloading your weapon on a person that is not a threat, cannot get up, can't run, and they're entitled to qualified immunity. We also affirm the grant of summary judgment on Bannon's other claims. They shut her right down. And then, I was talking to her and she pretty much gave up. She was like, Diana, I'm done. I can't, do this. They said I don't have a lawsuit. And, said that she didn't have a law. I'm putting this because I'm hiding the fact that I have nobody watching me. I don't want to see that. Hopefully someday somebody will watch me. Okay. This is going to take a few episodes. I might be here for a little while because I got nothing to do. At roughly 9:20 a.m. on the morning of February 7th, 2020, BPD received a report of an individual with a gun at Brigham and Women's Hospital. A BPD dispatcher relayed the information that a man had pulled a gun on BWH security. That's bullshit. Officer Godin responded to the call, as did Officer Michael St. Peter. Upon arriving at BWH, Officer Godin was approached by a hospital security guard, the one that ended up calling the cops on Juston, making the false accusations after he shook his hand. Upon arriving at BWH, Officer Godin was approached by God, I need to stop losing my spot. Yeah. Was approached by a BPD dispatcher, relay that whatever gun. Upon arriving at BWH, Officer Godin, who was first on scene, was approached by hospital security officer who said that a man had just pointed a gun at him. I'm like this so it doesn't look like I don't know, I'm trying to. There's a point. He pointed a gun at him. I'm sorry, guys. I'm nervous. I'm new with this. Just bear with me. The security officer pointed out the man's location to Officer Godin, who parked his cruiser and ran toward Vining Street in the direction the security officer had pointed. As he turned onto Vining, Officer Godin saw a man in an unzipped black jacket, later identified as Root, walking towards him. Now, BWH is a level 1 trauma center hospital with over 800 patient beds, and it conducts roughly 50,000 inpatient stays and 2.25 million outpatient encounters a year. Officer Godin observed that Root had a gun in his waistband. Turn it this way. Okay. Observed the gun in his waistband. And Bannon does not contest that. So Jen didn't contest that. He did have, it was a BB gun. Root falsely told Officer Godin that he was law enforcement and then turned and pointed up the street. Officer Godin did not believe that Root was law enforcement because law enforcement officers do not carry their firearms in their waistbands. Officer Godin drew his firearm and continued to approach Root. So Juston was like walking away from him at one point, and he kind of like, turns around. But at the point when he drew his gun at first, Juston was not a threat. Juston was never a threat. Let's get that straight. When Officer Godin and Root were within a few feet of one another, Root removed the gun from his waistband and pointed it at Officer Godin. During this interaction, Officer St. Peter arrived on the scene. He too saw Root holding a gun in his hand. It was a clear paintball gun. Clear. You could see it was clear. He ordered Root to drop the gun. Civilian witnesses later told investigators that they also saw Root holding a gun. Officer Godin saw Root start to pull the trigger on his gun and heard gunshot noises. In response, Officer Godin shot at Root several times. As he did so, Officer Godin fell backward into the street. So, not only was he shooting blindly, 9:30 in the morning, the middle of Boston, the busiest street intersection, BWH, Vining, Star Market, everything, like broad daylight. And this guy's not taking cover, and he's just shooting blindly. Well, one of his bullets ended up hitting a valet in the head, and he ended up losing his eye. His name is Juston Desmarais. The bullet ended up grazing the side of the building. And like those cops were on it. They had a team at that hospital the next morning fixing the side of that building. After they found out that Juston Desmarais was shot and was in the hospital, they locked that place down. Locked it down. No one was leaving. No one was coming and going. Unless you were a patient, you would go out through the back door. Lockdown. The cops physically took the bullet from the doctor after it was taken out of his head. And Juston is now blind. And I think they gave him $100,000. During the interaction, Officer St. Peter arrived on the scene. He too saw Root holding the gun in his hands. He ordered Root to drop the gun. Officer Godin saw Root start to pull the trigger on his gun and heard gunshot noises. In response, Officer Godin shot at Root several times. As he did so, Officer Godin fell backward onto the street. What a fucking idiot. Officer St. Peter also shot at Root. Multiple civilian witnesses later told investigators that they believed Root had pulled the trigger and fired shots. Both Officer Godin and Officer St. Peter believed that Root had been shot. And he had been shot. Still carrying the gun, Root limped to his car, a silver Chevy Volt, which was parked nearby, and he drove away. Officer Godin returned to his cruiser and began pursuing Root. He also stated over the cruiser's radio that he had been involved in a shooting, that he had been shot at, and that he believed he shot the suspect. He shot Juston, and Juston got into the car and drove. He was afraid, so he started driving and took off. He was bleeding out in that car. Additional BPD officers, including Officer Fernandez, Figueroa, McMenemy, and Thomas, joined the pursuit, which traveled down Huntington Ave. These officers understood Root was armed with a gun. During the pursuit, Officer McMenemy intentionally struck the side of Root's vehicle with his cruiser. That's known as a pit maneuver. It's a precision immobilization technique. And what it refers to is when the officer like hits the car in a certain spot in order to kind of like stop it. It's, it's against BPD policy. You're not allowed to do that, especially during broad daylight when there's like thousands of people everywhere. During the pursuit, Officer McMenemy intentionally struck the side of Root's Volt with his cruiser in what the parties refer to as pit maneuver. Officer McMenemy stated during a depot that at the time of the collision, the vehicles were moving at approximately 20 to 30 miles an hour. He also acknowledged that he had been aware at the time that the maneuver violated BPD policy, which forbids intentionally colliding with a pursued vehicle. The collision brought both vehicles to a stop. I would hope so. You should see Juston's car. I mean, the two tires came off. Like, he ended up, other cars were involved. A Coca-Cola truck got hit by a bullet. Let's see. He also acknowledged that he had been aware that it violated BPD policy. The collision brought both vehicles to a stop. Officer McMenemy got out of his cruiser, drew his firearm, took no cover, no idea about his surroundings, nothing. Drew his firearm and ordered Root to show his hands. Root did not obey. Rather, Root not only drove away at high speeds, but used the Chevy Volt to push Officer McMenemy's cruiser out of the way. That's a fucking lie. That's a blatant lie. And it's on video. Juston never hit a fucking cruiser. The high-speed pursuit continued down Huntington Avenue on a Route 9, moving from Boston to Brookline. Root's Volt reached speeds of up to 90 miles per hour. You fucking kidding me? They just said that they were moving 30 to 40 miles per hour. How the hell is he going to be doing 90 miles an hour going down Huntington Ave? Please explain that. Traffic camera footage shows him weaving dangerously through other vehicles at high speeds. At some point along Route 9, State Trooper Conley joined the pursuit. Having heard over his radio that shots had been fired at BWH and that a pursuit was ongoing. At the intersection of Route 9 and Hammond Street in Brookline, Root's Volt collided with 3 civilian vehicles. That was after he was hit with the pit maneuver. At the intersection at Route 9 and Hammond Street, he collided with 3 vehicles and came to a stop at the entrance of a shopping center parking lot. The collision caused extensive damage to Root's Volt. Multiple tires fell off, glass shattered, and the airbags deployed. Several sources of evidence consistently describe the events that occurred at the site of Root's collision in Brookline. Traffic camera footage, officer body-worn cameras, and civilian cell phone footage captured documentary evidence of the events and officers' contemporaneous statements. Officers and witnesses also described the events in interviews with investigators in the days following the shooting. And in some cases, in later depositions, in this case, we describe each in turn. Documentary of evidence, shooting in Brookline. So there's 2 different scenes. Traffic camera footage shows that at the time of the collision and throughout the confrontation that followed, which occurred at roughly 9:30 a.m. on a Friday, there were numerous cars in a parking lot and a steady stream of traffic down the opposite side of Route 9. Root got out of his car and continued fleeing on foot. He moved towards a mulched area adjacent to the parking lot's entrance. He fell on the sidewalk, but rose to his feet and continued into the mulch area where he fell again. Shelley McCarthy, ignore it, please. A civilian with EMS training who had been in her car in the parking lot saw Root leave his vehicle and ran to his side. She spent less than 10 seconds by Root's side. Multiple approaching officers, including at least Gordon and McMenemy, ordered her to get away from Root, and she did so and ran. Officer Figueroa's body-worn camera was recording throughout the confrontation in Brookline. Officer Figueroa ran to the mulched area and ordered Root to get down and to let her see his hands. Her camera recorded audio of several other officers giving similar commands. Officer Figueroa adopted a stance which blocked the view of the camera's lens on her body-worn camera as officers continued to order Root to get on the ground and show his hands. Just before officers fired, the camera recorded an officer began a command to Root to drop. Now, mind you, all this commotion is going on, and you have like 6 officers yelling at Juston. He's bleeding to death, can't get up. He's in like a schizophrenic state of mind. I mean, even civilian witnesses said that. All they heard was yelling. That's all they heard was yelling. So Officer Figueroa's camera footage shows that after he was shot, Root fell over in a fetal position on his right shoulder, facing the officers, with his chest area rolled partially towards the ground. Officer Figueroa's body-worn camera recorded that she and Trooper Conley, along with other officers, approached Root immediately after the shooting. The footage shows officers roll over Root and secure his hands. Think about that. He's shot, bleeding to death, on the ground, and they're handcuffing him. The footage shows Trooper Conley reach into Root's chest area. An officer asks, "Where's the firearm?" And Officer Figueroa responds, It's underneath him." So if it was underneath him, then how was he reaching for it? He was holding his chest. He was not reaching for his gun. BB gun. An officer asks, "Where is it?" "It's under him." I got it. It's secure." An officer, Trooper Conley, walks away with a gun in his right hand. The camera recorded Trooper Conley with Root's gun in his right hand, and roughly 5 seconds later, and again a minute later. Shortly after the shooting, Officer McMenemy's body-worn camera recorded him stating to another officer present that after he had ordered McCarthy to run, Root starts. He opens the thing. The what? And starts reaching for so many freaking notes, and starts reaching for it. He's right there, starts reaching for it on me, and that's when he said that essentially Juston was doing suicide by cop. The camera similarly recorded Trooper Conley characterize Root's actions as suicide by cop. The 6 officers fired a total of 31 shots, all within 3 seconds from the time McCarthy reached Root and then left to the time of the shooting. Approximately 10 seconds elapsed. After McCarthy left Root's side, she did not see him again, including at the time of the shooting. She therefore did not witness Root's position and actions immediately prior to and during the shooting. Root was transported by ambulance to a hospital where he was pronounced dead. He died at 9:36 a.m. Each involved officer gave statements as part of police investigations, and Bannon later deposed the 6 defendant officers in this case. Massachusetts State Police investigators assigned to the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office conducted at least 14 interviews of witnesses or officers involved, including interviews of all 6 officers who fired at Root between February 7th and 14th, 2020. Between February 7 and 14. What? Officers from BPD's Firearms Discharge Investigations team participated in most of these interviews as part of BPD's own investigations. Again, they investigate themselves. Bannon also deposed each officer defendant. Each officer testified consistently with his or her own prior statements to investigators and consistently with his or her fellow officers' statements and testimony. We summarize the relevant statements from each officer in turn, beginning with his or her arrival at the Brookline scene. Officer Joseph McMenemy. He was the first arriving officer. Officer McMenemy was interviewed by Mass State Police and FDIT investigators on February 12, 2020. In that interview, Officer McMenemy stated that he was the first officer to pull up to the scene where Root crashed his vehicle. He stated that he saw a white male stumbling and running towards the shopping center parking lot, and that Officer McMenemy ran directly towards Root. Officer McMenemy stated a woman, civilian, was running to Root's aid. And Officer McMenemy ordered the woman to get away, and she did so immediately. Officer McMenemy stated, I pointed my firearm at Root, ordering him to get on the ground. Show me your hands. Several times as I'm still running or walking at a fast pace towards Root. Then we have here, we had some BPD sergeants who, did, this is all, they investigate themselves. That's the fucking problem, okay? It's like, investigate themselves. We fucking pay them. We should be investigating these motherfuckers. McMenemy also states that Root was crouching down, but then he's standing, but crouching down, looking at me. And I'm still telling him to get on the ground. And he's just not, kind of fumbling around. And that's when I got real close to him. And I walked towards him. And I put my left leg up and kicked him. Not kicked him, but like with the flat of my foot up like 90-degree angle, like a soccer kick. Kicked him down to the ground. Okay? Kicked Juston while he was on the ground. Didn't kick him to the ground. He kicked him while Juston was on the ground. Officer McMenemy stated that he believed Root stood back up. Believed. Root, he was shot. He didn't stand back up. He couldn't even stand before this shit. While another officer continued to order Root to show his hands. Rando supported. It's all disorienting on purpose. Screaming, contradict. Okay, yes, I do agree with you, Rando. Then McMenemy stated that he believed Root stood back up. And while he and another officer continued to order Root to show his hands, instead, with his left hand, started grabbing at his jacket, which was unzipped at the time, grabbing at his jacket, which revealed the backside and the handle of a pistol that looked like it was holstered. Root's left hand grabbed the jacket and his right hand went to go reach for the handgun. He was holding his chest. Witnesses even said that. His hand was not in his jacket. And Juston had a one of those things, I forget what they're called, that, you know, they used to carry, put their weapons on, that police officers use. Bannon deposed Officer McMenemy on December 7, 2021. Consistent with his interview statements, Officer McMenemy testified at deposition that he was the first officer to arrive on the scene after Root crashed his vehicle and continued fleeing on foot. That's a lie. He crashed his vehicle after McMenemy did the pit maneuver. Officer McMenemy testified at deposition that he was the first officer, yada, yada. He described Root as moving, slumped over, as if he was in some pain. You fucking think you shot him? And moving at a speed faster than a walk. So he's slumped over, but he's moving at a speed faster than a walk. Officer McMenemy testified that he saw McCarthy reaching out to Root, and he began running up to him and commanding her to get away, which she did. She observed both of his hands underneath his chest. She also testified that he ordered Root, let me see your hands, get on the ground. That Root was moving away little by little in a crouched position, and that when Officer McMenemy got within reaching distance of Root, he picked up his left leg and he pushed Root to the ground. McMenemy testified that Root, now 6 to 8 feet away from him, returned to his feet, opening up his jacket and reaching for what looked like a black gun. It was a clear paintball gun with his right hand. Officer McMenemy testified that he fired at Root in response. Paul Conley, this is what he stated. He was the second arriving officer. He was interviewed by Mass State Police on February 14, 2020. In that interview, Trooper Conley stated, I saw Root had fallen on the mulch. There's a mulch area there. I thought he was just struggling to get up, or a Boston cop had tripped him. So I got out of my cruiser. I run up to the sidewalk. He's kind of going down, trying to get up. He's getting up on one knee. As I went to go tackle him, a Boston officer to my left yelled, he's got a gun, he's got a gun. And it's on his chest. He's grabbing it. And they were yelling. All the proper orders were given. I had my gun out. He reached into his chest, and I saw that he had come up. And at that point, you know, he's going to pull a gun on us. We're not getting shot. I'm going to protect everyone around us and protect the public. So I fired my rounds. Fired his rounds without taking cover. Fired his rounds not knowing what his surroundings were. Civilians. Nothing. He didn't care. He just started firing at a man that was helpless. Trooper Conley also stated that there was a female officer to his right, which was Trooper Figueroa. I told her, we're going to put our gloves on. We're going to go up, take him in custody. We approached. I grabbed his left. She came around to my right. She took custody of his right hand as I was holding his left hand, and she pulled his right hand. The gun was in his right hand. She pulled his hand out. I reached in underneath him and took control of the gun. So how the fuck are you saying he was reaching in his jacket if you're saying you found the fucking gun underneath him? Bannon, who's Juston's sister, Jennifer Root Bannon, she deposed Trooper Conley on January 12th, 2022. Consistent with his interview statements, Trooper Conley testified at deposition that when he arrived, he saw Root trying to get up and get away. He testified he gave Root a command along the lines of, "Stay down on the ground and show me your hands." He testified that Root's hands were on the mulch and he was trying to push himself up, and that Root was not prone to the ground, but never got to a fully upright position. So how is he a threat? Trooper Conley testified that he contemplated tackling Root, but he heard another officer say he's got a gun, so he immediately backed off. He says that he saw a black handle coming out of Root's vest. It was clear. He had it strapped to his chest, and he moved his hand into the inside of his jacket. But again, like I said, the gun was found underneath him. Officer Figueroa approached Root to secure his hands. He found Root's gun in Root's right hand under his body when Trooper Conley rolled him to gather his left hand. Okay, so it's in his right hand under his body. What? The third officer, Corey Thomas, was interviewed by Massachusetts State Police investigators on February 12, 2020. During that interview, Officer Thomas stated, "We get to the mulched area. What are you doing, Milo? These fucking dogs. I see him. He's on the ground. I'm to his left because he's facing all the other officers. I have my gun drawn. I'm giving him verbal commands. Let me see your hands. Get on the ground. I'm hearing other officers give out multiple commands. He wasn't moving his hands in a surrendering manner, as in, like, just showing us his hands, and wasn't complying. He just kept rustling his arms. They were like close to his body. I'm from the side. I can't see his hands. I can only see him moving his arms erratically. I heard one round go off, and I actually thought, all right, he's firing at officers, and I discharged my firearm." Officer Thomas further stated that Root was on the ground, like in a half-lying, half-kneeling type of position. He wasn't standing or fully sitting. Bannon deposed Officer Thomas on December 16, 2021, consistent with his interview statements. Officer Thomas testified. Oh my God. So much fucking paperwork. He testified at deposition that he approached Root and ordered him to let him see his hands and to get on the ground. He testified that Root was stumbling and moving while in a half-lying, half-kneeling type of position. He was not complying with orders to show his hands, instead keeping his hands close to his body, where Officer Thomas could not see them, and moving very abruptly and aggressively versus in a surrendering manner. So, okay, we get the point. They shot him. They you know, they, you know, I'm going to read other things here, but, that I think are, you know, will give more of a, like, show you just how bad it was. And, you know, I just want to say the judgment was denied on a reasonableness standard, which is what officer like is used to judge whether or not they use excessive force and whether it was warranted. And you know, the reasonable standness, it's like evaluating the conduct by comparing it to like a hypothetical reasonable person, like an objective measure of prudence. And it also asks one if it was reasonable, ordinary, sensible, and if like a regular person would act in such a manner. But I just wanted to read, this was the Brookline. There were two scenes, which I said one was the Brookline and one was the Boston scene. And this isn't the one I wanted. Where is it? All right, here it is. Here's the timeline. All right. Okay. So, no. How am I going to do this? I'm just trying to, because this is like, broke it down in like a timeline. And like, I don't know how to share screen. I don't know how, like, I'll get this. I'm a Portuguese. You people got to like, you know, just give me some time. Where is that? And okay, of course, you know, our boy was involved. Yuri Buchanan. He and him and Proctor interviewed people, like the witnesses. He interviewed. Of course they did. I mean, maybe that was when they got rehomed. They got I just want to read some of this shit off, but I have the paperwork, so I should just go from that. But this is Shane. All right, here we go. I've been like investigating this case for a while. Okay. And like, I'm going to try to be organized. And I just wanted to come on and like, just give a little bit of a background on this and like shine a light on it. And I just want Jen to see that I'm doing something about it, because I've asked so many content creators to cover this case and they don't want to do it. I don't know why they don't want to do it. And I've asked to go on their shows, excuse me, and nobody wants to do it. Like, and I don't understand, you know, how can, it's been over 6 years. Like, how? I don't understand. And like, you know, That same day that Shane overdosed here, he another guy was beat to hell. He beat to death in the Sally Port. And is this the one with, I think this is the one with Shane. Yeah. So what I got to do is I really need to, I have everything on the computer. I have everything ready to go, but I want to have more of an audience in order to, to really get into it. I want to be able to have more people to talk to. I don't mind sitting here talking to I guess I'm talking to myself because, rando supporter, thank you. You're my first, my first friend, my first lucky viewer. So yeah, I hope I gave you guys some an insight as to how bad it was. He was shot 31 times. I have the pictures of everything. I have all the audio of the depots from the offices. I have all the video from the entire incident, from every single camera that is in Boston, everything. So I want to go over all that stuff with you guys. And I just want more people. You guys share? Can you help a Portuguese out? Because I've done a lot of work and I really want to share it. I want to, shed light on this. And inmate deaths, especially at Mass DOC, that's another one that I'm really going to hit on. And so for right now, I'm just going to make content. I want to speak on Shane more because I want you guys to hear how bad it was at BPD District 4 the night that Shane died. This story is mind-blowing. And his mother, after the next day after Shane died, she went over to the station. She wanted to know what happened to her son, and she wanted his clothes. Well, nobody knew where his clothes went. We have one officer that said he got them from the hospital, brought them to another officer's office, and left them in the corner of the room. And still to this day, we don't have Shane's clothes. And then Christian Geigel was another one that died, and he had mental health issues. He was disabled, and he also overdosed in his cell. They would just arrest people and shove them into a cell. They never searched them. They didn't book them, fingerprint them, check their urine, run them through the x-ray machine, dress them. They didn't do anything. They just shoved them in a cell. And of course, District 4 is Mass and Cass. You should be. What are these guys doing? What are we paying them for? Why are we paying these guys to do this? And then I also wanted to weigh in on that Officer O'Malley who shot that guy, and he was arrested for it. Well, here's my thoughts on that. I blame Maura Healey and Mayor Wu for their anti-woke police policies. They do not support our police officers. They do not care about the residents, the citizens of Massachusetts, the taxpayers. They don't care about us. And if the judges would do their jobs and not let these criminals out into the street, then this would have never have happened. I mean, it's her fault. They keep letting these guys out into the street. We have illegal migrants just running the streets. She don't care because they vote for her. Maura Healey has to go. We pay her sister $4,000 a week to do what? She has an American Express bill to the tune of $11,014.62 for the month of January, February, April, March, April, I think. I check her financials like every 2 weeks. We're paying for her consultants to fly out. We're paying for Ubers. We're paying for her to go to wineries, to cater for parties. We're paying for her rental, her Audi. And here we are struggling. We have veterans that are homeless, veterans that can't eat. And we have Turtle Boy buying a house, having people furnish it, and then the Amazon grift. And he's still grifting with the Amazon. It's just like, where's your pride? Like, are you down with reality? Like, if I had money to buy a $600,000 house, well, I do have it, but I don't want to spend that kind of money. I'd rather keep my money and buy my Jeeps and hook them up. And, I'm obsessed with Jeeps. And, how are you going to buy a $600,000 house and not furnish it on your own? For the love of God, knives, paper towel holders, dish strainers, sponges, toilet paper holders, towels, a fucking towel dryer. How do you dry towels? Oh, you got to buy one of these things that dry towels. Yo, hang the fucking towels up on a chair. The fuck's wrong with you? And then, I've done investigations for insurance companies, and I tried to tell them, you need a chain link fence around the perimeter of that pool, the cement, where it goes around. You have to have a chain link fence because the pool is easy accessible through the back, the screen doors, whatever they're called, doors in the back. Kids can just run in, jump. You just don't know. And I guarantee you, there won't be no kids in that neighborhood coming to use that pool unless the parents are there with them. That's how I would be. But yes, he does have a fence, and that will keep other people out, but it won't actually know because the pool is accessible through the side of the house from the driveway. So that could be a problem for insurance. And then also, if I was looking, I'm not jealous. I'm not hating. Trust me, I'm not that type of person. I wish that I could be proud of him for doing it the right way, for doing it with integrity, and for not screwing Karen over. She's been through enough. She doesn't need this. And so right now, I'm sorry, but I can't stand but to despise him. But anyway, if you look at the pictures of his pool, and he says the land, it lifts. It goes up. I've learned that when it starts to lift like that, that means that something is leaking, something ain't right. So either the foundation of that pool is leaking or something's up with the sewer. And I was told that the people that bought the house prior, they were there for 9 months. And it was their dream home. They planned on staying. They weren't going to go anywhere. And then insurance started being like a heckler. I guess they were paying close to $3,000 a month for insurance because of the pool. A pool is awesome, but you have to do it the right way. You got to follow the rules. He could put that fence up. It'll be less than an insurance premium, and less than insurance payment, and put a pool alarm, and you're good. That's it. But he doesn't need it. You know how many kids have drowned in pools? All it takes is 2 seconds for you to turn your head, and next thing you know, they're drowning. The diving board, for the love of God, that pool isn't deep enough for a diving board. Get that shit out of there. I've tried to give him advice. I've tried to tell him to shut the fuck up. I've gone through Tim. I've told Tim. No one listens to me. But yet I'm crazy. I'm the one who should be sectioned. I'm the one who has problems. Why? Because I speak the truth? Because I stand up for what's right? Because I stand up for Karen? Because I know she didn't hit John, and I know those text messages and emails were fabricated. I don't know why he thinks that you can just turn over a screenshot that's cut and paste as an exhibit without metadata, without authentication. You can't do that. It's, the rules of evidence. It's and for Bradel to do that, and for Bradel to allow that to go into evidence, that thumb drive was like one of the stupidest things I've ever heard in my life. But this is what I think. The judge didn't give either one of them, my dogs are bugging out over here. I think that he didn't give either of them the order, but I do believe that he took everything that he got that day. Everything that he got that day, he handed over to Kasi or something. I know he didn't just let that go. What do you mean I'm loud? I'm loud? How come? Don't be mean to me. Why am I loud? I'm a Portuguese. I talk loud. I talk loud. What? Do you like me, Rando? Do you like me? Oh, word. I love you. You better get me some more supporters, Rando. I'm waiting. I got 6 subscribers. No, I'm, we'll have a good time. I just, I don't know. You want to talk to me, Rando? So how you doing today? You doing good? You're surrounded by Portuguese. Portuguese are the best. I'm telling you, like they're the best. I'm first generation. My parents were immigrants. We're from San Miguel, Azores. 100%. I'm not a mutt like Jessica Machado. She tries to claim that she's Portuguese, but she's not. She's a fucking mutt. All right, Jess? Yeah. I said. Yeah. she was on with somebody yesterday. And I forget what she said. Oh, something Portuguese with Jimmy. All of a sudden, she's Portuguese. Dude, she wants to be me so bad. I can tell. She wants to be me. Not mainlanders. Oh, yeah. And you do know that Cape Verde used to be part of the Azores, but we kicked them down south because, we kicked them down south, and that's why they are darker than us, and they speak Creole, which is a language that they use to communicate with with African people. She hates her heritage. She's a stupid bitch. She don't know whether she's coming or going. You know what I mean? I have never in my life seen a bigger ass. Like, seriously. Did you see her? Did you see her the other day, that picture outside of court? And she's like, she looks like she was ready to tip over. That shit was fucking comical. I was like, damn. I mean, Rando, I'm glad you're talking to me because I'm fucking bored and my dogs are going nuts. I'm glad it ain't raining because yesterday was rough. My puppy, Milo, come here. Come here, Milo. This is Milo. Milo, come here. This is Mackie. Come here, Mackie. I want you to say hi. Mackie is Junior's daddy. And then I've got Milo, and he's a rescue. It's just the four of us. I love my life. It's happy. It's peaceful. It's spring. I'm outside working in the yard. I got to prune the hydrangeas. You do know that the Portuguese people came up with the hydrangeas. We made the hydrangeas. So my yard is full of them. And I keep my yard like spotless. I've been here. I've lived here since 1985. My dad gave me this house. I'm very lucky. I thank God every day for everything that I have. I'm healthy. My son's healthy. And I like Auntie Deb. And I actually bought the Irish Poor Face hoodie. I fucking love it. And I couldn't believe it. She was talking about my son with Erica in Turtle Boy's chat about my son not being a sniper. My son, I raised him by myself, okay? He is one sick mofo. He's Special Forces, 10th Mountain Division non-commissioned officer. He's an expert marksman, and he's a sniper. And so his identity has to stay like low key. And somehow Turtle Boy found a picture of my son, and it was posted on X. And somebody told me, you want to talk about lose my shit? I lost my shit. My son's superior actually called X. Maybe he talked to Elon. Who the hell knows? And the picture was taken down. So I just don't watch him anymore. I don't watch Jimmy anymore because of the fact that he's supporting Turtle Boy. Jimmy knows all the damage that Turtle Boy has caused in Worcester. He knows. I mean, it's like he picked on Altman. He just shits all over these people. And then all of a sudden, they just become, I don't know, they must be scared of him. What is it? Like, do I talk to Karen Reed? I don't know. Do you talk to Karen Reed? All I know is that he thinks the team is back together. Rando, he thinks that him and Karen are going to fight this shit alone. I mean, together. Karen's going to press charges on him. I guarantee you she's going to catch his ass for illegally recording her. And the whole thing with Nan, what the fuck is up with that? What did she do? What did Nan do? Nan didn't do anything to anybody. She supported everybody. I mean, people are different. We're allowed to feel the way we feel about certain things. We're allowed to carry ourselves however we want. We're allowed to live our life the way we want. Oh, Rando, she's pressing charges on him. She has to. And she has to sever from him, file a motion to sever. That's the only way she's going to get away from it. She has to file charges on him. And I know she will. I know she will. She's not stupid. You think Alan Jackson's going to take that shit laying down? You know? And it's like the whole school thing with BS it is BS. It is BS. And like all these 24s on 24s, the dog walkers, James though, and Luna. I like watching James walk Luna. Luna's beautiful. But yeah, I don't get it. I don't get like, and then we have, let's talk about Rat House Media. White trash. Like for months, they were using JFK and the guys for content, criticizing them. Like those, they're real. Like I was born in Cambridge, moved to Malden, like, and we had a summer house on the Cape and whatever. So I'm always back and forth. We own property that we rent to MIT for campus housing in Cambridge off Jefferson Street near the Harrington School, Little Portugal. And so I understand them. They speak my language, you know, like I'm loyal. I got your back as long as you got my back. And that's the way it goes. If I got something to say to you, I'm going to say it to your face. And that's it. And I see them all the time on JFK and Babs' space. Oh, I'm suspended again from X. I have made, I think, 4 accounts. They all get suspended. One was reported for terrorism. That was TB because I was posting his sex cult chats. And then I think I did something to Machado, so she reported me. And then I forget what I did this time. What did I do this time to get suspended? I don't even know what I did. I appealed it. But I want people to share this channel, Rando. Tell people I'm here. Let them know. There's a Portuguese over here that wants to talk. Okay. And the free speech war. Oh, of course they do. Of course they do. They don't want to hear the truth. I mean, I've been in college. I was getting my my certificate for my associates in like a paralegal. I was going to be a paralegal and then criminal law and yada, yada, yada. But I was in school and I was like arguing with the teachers. Like I knew more than the fucking teachers. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to teach myself. So I'm federal laws. I know everything about federal laws because my son's father was in federal prison and I had to fight for him like hell. He was in for 8 years and it felt like I was doing the time with him. To be honest, I was doing the time with him. I took on a fucking warden in Indiana, Terre Haute. Then it was during COVID. I didn't hear from him for, I think it was going on 6 weeks. So I flew out to Pennsylvania to see if he was alive. I have stories about that, like nightmares. And so I fought the feds. I did. I've fought the feds and it worked because I got him shipped to a better prison where he learned trades and he was treated with respect. And that's all I cared about. And he's out now. He's doing good. He has a job. So I'm happy about that. I'm glad he's doing good. But yeah, and I'm in school. I take classes for CSI because of what happened with Officer John O'Keefe. I think that we need more crime scene investigators. And so I know a lot about blood spatter, ballistics, like body, like I can study, like, the way somebody acts. Like I have a good sense of, I can tell when someone's lying. I'm very educated. And that's the thing, is like people think that I'm stupid, but when I open my mouth and I fucking clap back, then, it is what it is. I barely use share, but I will try. Thank you. I mean, I know I'll get up there. It takes a little while. We have to start somewhere, right? Nobody started with, 1,000 subscribers. They all started with 0. So I will get there. I won't give up. And rest in peace, Juston Root. I am going to tell his story. It's going to take months. There's a lot to cover. Rando, you want to be my co-host? I'll take people, come visit me, come talk. We can jump on, chat, have coffee, smoke a blunt, smoke a cigarette. We can do anything together. And I'm looking forward to this. And I just wanted to say to Jen, Juston's sister, that I love you. And I told you I was going to do it. I'll be in touch with you. And Rando, I hope you have the best day. And you are my number one fan. I will never forget it. Okay? I love you, Rando. And like, share, subscribe. Do all the things. Hello.